Hi, my name is Morten, and in this video we will be looking at shipping methods. More specifically, we will look at implementing the ability for the customer to select shipping method as well as update the current one if he already did select one. So we need to present the available shipping options coming from the back office. We saw that in a previous video, how we could maintain that in the back office. And we'll see what APIs we need to use in order to present the shipping options on the page, as well as call the proper API to create a shipment based on the user's selection. So let's dive right into it. We need to use a few techniques that we've been using already so far in order to bootstrap our page and to use the Ucommerce APIs inside our controller. So the first thing that I did was, of course, create a page within the CMS. And then I have found my shipping controller here, which is the appropriate one for that particular page. So the CMS will automatically call this controller, and in here I need to facilitate the Ucommerce API. So that's what we will be doing, just like we've done a bunch of times already. All right, there we go. So let's start by including the proper API for this. We will be using transaction library again. So I need to create my public property here. Just like this. So now we reference this interface coming from the ISC container. Same as we've done a couple of times. We have a shipping model here, which will be presented for the user. In here we need to add the available options. And we need to do two things here, because first of all, we want to present the options for the user. But the users may or may not jump back and forth between the different steps of the checkout flow multiple times. If you do that, we of course want to pre-select the one that he already did select in case that he already went through the step one time before. So we need to grab not only what are the available options, but also what has the user already selected. Fortunately, we can do that quite easy. So first of all, we want to grab the selected shipping method, which is of the type Ucommerce entities v2 shipping method. And we can grab that on transaction library by calling get shipping method. That gives us the option for the user. There's an optional parameter here for an address name. The reason for that is you can have multiple shipments on your order. Typically, you only have a single one. It's very, very unlikely that the user will maintain more shipments for his order. That happens rarely and only in very complex scenarios. Otherwise, it's usually just billing address and a shipping address on the order. And then if you leave the optional parameter here alone, Ucommerce will automatically figure out the default shipping address for the order. So you don't have to specify that in here. So now we have the selected shipping method. This may or may not be null. And now we need to grab the available payment options. Let's call that available shipping methods. And that's a method called get shipping methods. There's a few things we can add in here. For example, we can pass in a country. Ucommerce will automatically grab the one from shipping address. So the shipping address will determine where do we ship to. Remember, in the back office we could set the access on store and on country. In this case, we can just choose to not input anything, and then Ucommerce will automatically narrow the correct shipping methods. But if we want to narrow it down on a separate country, like billing address instead, then we can do that by passing in a country from somewhere else. Here we just leave it alone, and that will fit in most scenarios. And what we get back here is a list of shipping methods, a collection in this case. So now we want to iterate the available shipping options, and then we want to populate our view model. And we want to do that with a select list item. So this is just standard MVC, and the text of this is on the option is a name, and the value will be the shipping method ID. And as I said before, we want to set this as pre-selected if this is a method that has already been selected by the user. In that case, we can just compare this shipping method that we are populating right now with the selected shipping method. And it's fine if this is null, it will just use object reference. And if it's null, then of course it's not the selected one. Alright, and that's actually all we have to do here. And now we return the view together with our populated model. And once the page loads and presents for the user, then he will see all the available ones. He will click on one of them, and then he will post back to the controller what shipping method he selected. So in our post method down here, we then need to update the appropriate shipping method based on the user selection. It's just an ID that we take in. And to do that, we call create shipment on transaction library, and we pass in the selected shipping method ID. And we need to pass in the address name. This is the one that Ucommerce identifies as what address to use, which is what we selected in the previous steps. So as I said, we can have multiple shipping addresses on a single order, so Ucommerce needs to figure out the correct one. We just use default shipping address name here because we expect that there will only be one, but in case the user has more addresses stored, then we need to specify the correct one here as well, but we only have one. And we do want to override the existing shipment because we just want a single shipment for our orders here. That's the most typical scenario. Once this is done, Ucommerce will create the appropriate shipment on the order, and then everything else will work just fine. Ucommerce will automatically create the object and assign the correct order lines to that shipment. In Ucommerce, you can have multiple shipments for your order, and each shipment will contain a list of order lines which are relevant for that particular shipment. So if you have something that are out of stock on the order, you can create a new shipment in the back office and then drag and drop the order lines to that. It's a video on how to maintain orders within the backend as well, so I don't want to show that right now. So now we have the shipment, and last thing that we need to do, important thing that we have done a couple of times already, execute the basket pipeline. Then Ucommerce will automatically put all the totals in the correct state. So when we create a shipment, there might be a fee associated with it. So in the end, we want to have the order total updated after that. And that's actually all we have to do. And then of course redirect to the payment page. So let's try to compile and see if it works. My solution compiled, and I have my shipping option page here, which was the next page after I entered my address details for my billing and shipping address. And here I can now select between the available shipping options that's available for me. Remember that this is based on the language I selected for my billing and shipping address on the previous page, and this filters based on the shipping configuration that we set from the back office. We saw that in the previous video how we could do that. So here I list the available options, and I can now choose which one that I would like. I have download and UPS available here, so let's just select UPS and click continue. So what happens here is that it will use my selection and add that to the order and execute the basket pipeline. I have not created my payment page yet. We will do that in the next video. That's why we get these page not found page. But if we click back, we should see that UPS is now the pre-selected choice because we took that into account as well. So all good on the shipping option page. Now let's continue with the payment page in the next video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you in the next one.